Hi guys, how's it going? Welcome back to my channel and welcome if you are new. I'm Nika and I make book related videos. As you can see, today's video is going to be me simply getting ready whilst talking about all the new books I got in the month of July. I hope you enjoy this video because I don't think I've done this before. Have I? I'm not sure, but I do hope you enjoy this video because I think I got some amazing books in July and I'm very excited to share them all with you. And if you like this video, don't forget to click on the thumbs up icon and subscribe if you haven't already. And without further ado, we're gonna dive right in, and I'm gonna show you all the 6 new books that I got in July. Alright, so today was one of those days when you take the shower, when you're doing everything in the shower, hair wash, scrub, exfoliation, all of that. So I just put on my toner. So I don't have a very busy day today. I have to go out for a couple of errands, so I won't be putting on a lot of makeup, hardly any makeup, and you'll see the actual everyday makeup routine, which is almost non-existent, because I mean in India it's impractical to put on so much makeup every day. I've seen all of these get ready with me everyday basic makeup videos on YouTube that people belonging to, let's say, less humid countries do, and I'm like, how does the makeup not melt off? So anyway, the the toner I use is this dry ceramide one, and I have started using it since this year, I think around January, and I really like it. So anyway, with the toner, we'll talk about the first book of July. So the first book that I have to talk about with you all is The Fine Print. So this is book 1 in the Dreamland Billionaire series. This is a series of 3 books, and it follows 3 different brothers, the Kane brothers, who all belong to a huge empire that was made by their grandfather, and they deal mostly in amusement parks and everything, so the fairy tale business. This one actually follows the youngest brother. So what happens is that the grandfather dies, and this is not a spoiler, you'll get to know this in the very beginning of the story. So the grandfather dies, and for each of the 3 brothers to get their inheritance, they have to do a particular something. The job of the youngest brother, whose name is Rowan, is to basically come up with a plan to kind of renovate the amusement park, to take it a step further, and that is how he in the process meets our heroine, whose name is Zara, and she, after let's say kind of rocky beginning, they start kind of working together on making this plan framework for the next step, so that they can improve the amusement park, the experience for everyone, and all of that. It's a love story, of course. They'll fall in love, but how they fall in love, the different roller coasters that they have to go through, and all of that is evolved, written here. That's what you'll see when you read the story. It also has a lot of emotional depth, but then again, there are of course various criticisms that can come for this, and I wrote here that the third act conflict is resolved very quickly, according to me. So that was that, and I mean, it was a fine book. And to be very honest, let me tell you, I personally read romance books in a very non-critical manner. The way I read these rom-coms, adult romances, are very different from the way I would read, say, a literary fiction, which I would analyze and everything. For me, romances are sort of like a palate cleanser, mindless reading kind of thing. So that is why I refuse to critically analyze these books. These books are purely for fun, and that's where I keep the boundary for all of these. But anyway, this is book 1, and I really enjoyed it. I'll also be using this, moving on, I'll be using this serum, and this is the Cosrx Advanced Nail 96 Mucin Power Essence. I've been loving it. My skin has been amazing recently compared to the previous months, to the previous years. I'm having less acne breakout. I'm almost on the verge of glass skin. I got glass skin once, but then periods, and then more acne, all of the hormonal changes. But overall, this actually works. I really like it. So I usually just take 2 pumps and then put them on my skin. So I bet this looks really funny on film, but I don't know. Anyway, moving on, let's talk about the second book that I got in July. This one is Terms and Conditions, which is book 2 and the sequel to the oh my god, this is the sequel to the Fine Print. Fine Print is book 1, Terms and Condition is book 2. Now book 2 follows the eldest brother, whose name is Declan, and according for him to get his inheritance, remember the grandfather has made all of these codicils requirements for the guys, for the 3 brothers to get their inheritance. So his condition is basically to get married and have a child, and then he's looking for all of these brides left and right. He doesn't really date, he doesn't really have any female companions, so for him it's quite difficult to come across one with whom he has some sort of similarity, even mental or intellectual similarity, friendships with whom he can marry. So they're unable to find one for him, and this is where his secretary Iris Kane comes in. So this is a boss secretary romance, it's also a billionaire romance and everything, and I really liked it. I think in this book the banter is really good between Declan and Iris, especially because they have, I think, background of 3 years of working together, so their working relationship is quite good, and the way they interact and everything, it's really good. Again, Declan's personality, it is, we get to peel his personality layer by layer throughout the book as we proceed with the story, and I think it was done quite well. These are both books that I actually also ended up reading in the month of July, and I'll share my thoughts with you all later on in the wrap-up video, but I'm actually really excited to let you know that if you want some nice romance, adult romance recommendations, this series, the Dreamland Billionaire series, is one that you can definitely explore. So moving on, sunscreen. I'll probably apply another layer of sunscreen before I go out. So for now, it's just this, I think. By the way, the sunscreen that I use is the Requil one, oxybenzone and OMC free sunscreen. It's got SPF 50. Yeah, so I do recommend it. I don't think that I get any white cast using this, and I use it both on my face and my body, so I would recommend this one. So the next book that I want to share with you all is actually a review copy that I got, and this is The Rabbit Hutch by Tess Kinty, and I got it from HarperCollins. I haven't read it yet, so let me share the synopsis with you all. Vacaville, Indiana, recently voted #1 on Newsweek's list of dying American cities. According to the developers, however, it is a city with a whole lot of history of reinvention, one that buzzes with the American spirit. Not everyone agrees though, certainly not the residents of the Rabbit Hutch, a low-cost housing complex in the once bustling industrial center, populated by a cast of unforgettable, disenfranchised characters. There is an online obituary writer, a woman waging a solo campaign against rodents, and most notably 18-year-old Blandine, recently released from foster care and determined to stop the developers, whatever the cost. Set over one sweltering week in July, The Rabbit Hutch is a savagely beautiful and bitingly funny snapshot of contemporary America. Bold, experimental, and brilliantly written, it will live in the memory long after the final page. I am excited to read it. However, the one thing that I'm not excited about is the really small font of this book. So yeah, I've seen this book on Instagram, but I'm not sure what the general consensus is, because I haven't read a lot of reviews in depth, so that's the issue. I've got such terrible tan on my arms. By the way, this is apart from books, but if you know how to undo sun damage from your arms, let me know, because I mean, if it was tan, it would have been removed by now, but it has not gone away. So okay, the next book was a gift from my parents, and this is Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood. Now this is the latest Ali Hazelwood, and I was very, very excited to read it. And let me tell you, I really liked this book because I've actually read it. But here's the synopsis. The many lives of theoretical physicist Elsie Hanaway have finally caught up with her. By day, she is an adjunct professor, toiling away at grading labs and teaching thermodynamics in the hopes of landing tenure. By other day, Elsie makes up for her non-existent paycheck by offering her services as a fake girlfriend, tapping into her expertly honed people-pleasing skills to embody whichever version of herself the client needs. Honestly, it's a pretty sweet gig, until her carefully constructed Elsieverse comes crashing down, because Jack Smith, the annoyingly attractive and arrogant older brother of her favorite client, turns out to be the cold-hearted experimental physicist who ruined her mentor's career and undermined the reputation of theorists everywhere. And he's the same Jack Smith who rules over the physics department at MIT, standing right between Elsie and her dream job. Elsie is prepared for an all-out war of scholarly sabotage, but those long penetrating looks, not having to be anything other than her true self when she's with him, will falling into an experimentalist orbit finally tempt her to put her most guarded theories on love into practice. So really interesting book, again kind of like a workplace romance. There's a bit of misunderstanding as well, but in this book the misunderstanding is resolved pretty quickly early on in the book, way before the 50% mark, I think. And then from then on, it's them developing as a couple and at the same time them developing as particular individuals. So that's that. Then since, like I said, this is a pretty low effort day, and I don't have to go anywhere to meet people or anything like that, I'm just using a BB cream. I'm not gonna put like actual real like makeup, so just, and with my fingers no less. I'm sure it'll be fine. Okay, so let's move on to the next book. Let me just check though. I look fine enough. Then we have another gift from my parents, and it is Hello Beautiful by Anne Napolitano. And this, as far as I know, is kind of a retelling of Little Woman by Louisa May Alcott. And if you don't know, Louisa May Alcott's The Little Woman is basically a book, one of my favorite books of all time. I think it's beautiful the way the characters evolve. I've also read a couple of the sequels, and I think they are really well done. So unfortunately, I don't have the actual synopsis right here, but I'll try to take out a few from the blurbs written at the back and let you know about it. A story of family and friendship, of how people we are bound to can also set us free. A rich, complex family saga. This is a portrait of love and grief in equal measure. This is a richly woven story about family, but it's also a unique take on Little Women. There are no heroes or villains here, only people flawed and loving and striving like the rest of us. Generosity is the word that comes to mind when I reflect on this gorgeous novel. This is a profoundly moving and propulsive novel of the deepest connections of love and trauma, family, as well as healing. A book to treasure and share with friends and loved ones. And all of these blurbs are from authors such as Miranda Cowley Heller, Mary Beth Keane, Allegra Goodman, Angie Kim, all of them. I think the book cover is very good, and to be honest, the cover was the thing that actually attracted me the first time I came across this book on Bookstagram. So I'm excited to read it. Again, the issue that I'm not really fond of is that it has really small font size within the book. So even though it doesn't look that thick, I feel like this is going to be a dense read, and there are 387 383 pages in this book. So that's that. Since I'm not doing a lot of anything else, as you can see, I feel like, you know, putting on a bit of mascara will make the difference. Done. Ooh. A fallen eyelash. I'll make a wish. Anyway, okay. The last book that I want to share with you all, while I also put on the last bit of the makeup, is actually a graphic novel, and I have heard so much about it, but I was very afraid to pick it up because it's not just a graphic novel, it's actually a manga. So I was really afraid to pick it up, and it took me this long to pick it up. Let me blend my, okay. I think now I look a bit human. So anyway, the book, we were talking about the manga. The book in question is Uzumaki by Junji Ito. Now, I have heard a lot about this book. I've seen so many booktubers also read it, and they just say that it's really, really good, and it's also horror. So I'm excited to read horror. You know, I have started reading horror, kind of like, you know, the unhinged kind of weird books only last year, I think. But since then, I have realized that this is definitely my genre. I'm really excited to read it. So let me share a brief synopsis. Kurozo-cho, a small fog-bound town on the coast of Japan, is cursed. According to Suichi Saito, the withdrawn boyfriend of teenager Kiri Goshima, their town is haunted not by a person or being, but a pattern, Uzumaki, the spiral, the hypnotic secret shape of the world. This bizarre masterpiece of horror manga is now available in a single volume. Fall into a whirlpool of terror. I think it is very, very beautiful, and it's quite big, as you can see. Let me see if I can see how many pages there are, if they do even mention the page number. I don't think the page number is mentioned, but it is very, very beautiful. I'll make sure to include a kind of like a flip through of the book so that you can see. If you're wondering, it's basically a black and white book. There's not a lot of color. There's only color on like a couple of pages, you know, in the middle and in the very beginning. So I don't know why it's that, if it's deliberate or what, but yeah, I think in the beginning of each chapter they put color in the first 2 pages of each chapter. That might be the only explanation I have, so maybe, not sure. So anyway, I am really, really excited to read this book and yeah, so those are all the 6 books I got in the month of July, and I'm really, really excited to read the ones that I haven't from this pile. I've read 3 books from this pile. I've got 3 more to read, and I have to tell you that I had a really good time reading the romances, the fine print, terms and conditions, love theoretically, but of course I'll share more about them in my wrap-up video. I hope you have a good time reading these as well, and if these are in your TBR or if you plan on reading them anytime soon, let me know and we can definitely do a buddy read. So yeah, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Take care. I'll see you again next time. Bye.